Okay, so I told you that, basically, my brother and I spent our entire life savings to get into real estate. We were going to be regular landlords and create passive income and do all these things, and it was going to just basically take forever and 2 lifetimes. We didn't have that time, and I have a huge sense of urgency to get things done. And when I get latched onto something, I go all the way with it as fast as I can and then figure out what I was supposed to do later. And that's kind of what I did with real estate investing. So in the time that it took to buy that first house and get it rented, we bought another house and started flipping it. That was the one that we spent my brother's life savings on, and it took us 18 months to flip that second house because we didn't have any money. We'd have to go to work, buy materials, go to work, pay Lonnie to put the stuff in the house. We'd have to go to work, buy more stuff, pray nobody stole it while I was on the job site, and then pay an electrician to put all the electric in the house. I mean, it was a disaster. So I was in real estate investing. I had bought land at auction. I'd been buying houses at auction. That second house that we bought was from a FSBO seller. And I was a real estate investor, but I didn't know what I was doing. And luckily, my broker at the time, I'm the broker for Whitney Buys Houses now, but at the time I was working for another real estate company. And she sent me an email that there was this thing called the NOXREA, the Knoxville Real Estate Investors Association. And they were having this panel discussion on property managers and how to make more money from rental properties than listing, because she knew I was pretty terrible at listing houses. So she was trying to help me on something that she could see I was interested in. So I went to this REIA meeting, and Victor Jernigan was there, and he was awesome. He was the president of NOXREA, and he was introducing this idea of creative financing to this room full of real estate investors. Thing was, I just spent all my money on 2 houses, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I mean, I was broker than broke. I was sleeping on my mom's couch. I was eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner at my mom's house because she knew I was broke, busted, and disgusted at this time. And I was completely in over my head. So she was taking really good care of me. She didn't want me homeless on the streets. So I'm living at my mom's house. I am down to just living off credit cards, and it was a hot mess. And I find myself at this meeting with all these successful real estate investors, and they're speaking this totally different language than I've ever heard of. And I've been to a lot of real estate school. I've been to auction school, and I still didn't know anything they were talking about. And Victor's going on and on and on about creative financing and lease options and owner financing. And he said that there was going to be this special 2-night presentation on how to get started without any money, without any credit, without any banks. And I thought, oh, I need to know about that. I got to know about that. But the thing was, it was going to be $75 to go to these 2 nights. And I told him, I said, after the meeting, I said, look, man, I would love to go to this stuff, and it sounds really cool, but I don't have 75 bucks. And he said, Whitney, I'll make a deal with you. If you'll pay $75 and go to these 2 meetings, I'll make you a promise. If you go and don't learn anything, I'll give you your $75 back. And I thought, all right, old man, that's a bet I'm willing to take. So I gave him $75, and I went to the first meeting, and y'all, within 15 minutes, the man teaching, who was a NOXREA member, showed us how he made $100,000 extra in part-time real estate investing. He was doing lease options, he was doing owner financing, and he was doing these deals out in Oak Ridge, which is just like 20 minutes away. So I thought, my gosh, if he can do this, I can too. And it was true. I could do these deals. And I went through a lot of training in Florida. But by the end of February, that was in November, by the end of February, I had my first lease option contract on a house in Dandridge, Tennessee. I gave those people $10, and they agreed to sell me the house for $122,000. Just had $10 invested on a $120,000 house. And by the middle of May, I was able to close that deal with a cash buyer that came down from Chicago for $135,000. So I made $13,000 in the spread of the 2 purchase prices because I understood lease options. And then the people that bought it from Chicago, they needed a place to store all their stuff while they were moving down between March, April, and May. So they gave me $1,000 a month in rent on a property that they weren't living in. I made over $15,000 with just $10 invested on my first lease option house. It's really cool stuff. You've got to find out about creative financing. And I went on to do 13 other deals in 2014, just like that. I made $136,000 doing lease options, having $10 invested, and then being able to cash big checks. And I'll tell you more about that in the next video.